Is Dungeon Meshi worth the hype? Yes, it is. Let's talk about it. Welcome fans of anime. Today's anime review is Studio Trigger's Dungeon Meshi. Now Studio Trigger has made other animes like Kill la Kill, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Now we got 5 categories that we always put it in, which is story, character, animation, pacing, and music. So let's get started with the story. Pretty much this anime was mostly about cooking for the first...
No. It's supposed to be about saving Falling.
Yeah, but it became to a cooking show. And then it went to back to seriousness in the second half of the show, which is after they defeat the Red Dragon. Now when that happened, it became like an actual story-driven anime, whereas in the first half it wasn't really story-driven. It was mostly comedy and theories about cooking monsters and stuff like that.
There were like some small lore drops here and there as well. Like he went to the painted world, and that's where he actually met the lunatic
that was one of my favorite episodes actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The paintings. I thought at first it was just like a regular painting. It had nothing to do with the story. And then he kept going to all the painting, and it was like a timeline.
Yes.
And I was like, this elf keeps popping up. So I was like, this guy's gonna play a role, I think. And then he became the lunatic magician. I was like, oh, that's good. I like that.
This entire first half, I was just sarcastically watching it because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to take this anime seriously. What happens in the beginning is super damn serious, but then what's happening during the first half, none of it screamed dire consequences. They were just kind of like, let's just kind of trot along. So eventually, I just started to go along with it. I'm just like, okay, you know what? Fine. I think this anime doesn't want to be taken all that seriously. I'll just watch it from here on out. By the start of the second half, I had clocked out mentally at this point because episode 12 to 14 happens. Okay, now it's really serious. Now we got Nina 2.0 now. Falling turns into the dragon, slaughters everybody, and I'm like, okay, things got real. I don't know if they're gonna go back to doing the stupid, let's cook and just be silly about it.
Bro, it's not stupid.
No, stupid in that.
You're talking about like lighthearted.
Yeah. I'm not saying stupid in the bad way. I'm saying like, let's do this really silly, goofy stuff right now. I'm like, okay, I don't think they're gonna go back to doing that, but then they kind of do, but not to the extent that it was in the first half. My interest in the goofy aspect of it was gone now because they showed off the more interesting story now, so I was more inclined to want to know about that. So every time they show the cooking part now, I was like bored now, which is crazy.
You're saying after the second half, it felt like a little bit filler-esque.
Yes, which is crazy because the first half, that's all this was about, and I enjoyed it perfectly fine.
Yeah, because the theme changed.
Yes.
So for you, the theme had changed. It went from something that was supposed to be comedy, very funny, very lighthearted, like a family eating thing, and knowledge about monsters, and then became like a story-driven.
Yeah, like
it got
heavy
dark,
story-driven,
dramatic. We actually know about people's background.
Yeah, that was just crazy.
It took them this long. Now the next category is characters, and I feel like this is where the anime shined with the 4 main characters: Laios, Marcille, Chilchuck, and Senshi. I really like their banter. There's no really annoying character between the main 4. Senshi is hilarious.
Senshi is the best character. I'm just throwing it out there.
He doesn't speak the most, I guess, when it comes to like when he's cooking, but his facial expression always gets me every time.
Yeah.
Like his derpy eyeballs.
Yeah, and like I was concerned about Marcille because I thought that I was gonna get really annoyed at her because I thought the joke of her being I don't want to eat monsters, I thought it was gonna become dry at a certain point, but somehow it didn't. So I ended up actually liking her a lot more than I thought I did.
I think because the anime really played around her, just like for monster food. There's some episode where she was like actually explaining how to cook the food. She was like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, because like she was becoming one of them.
Yeah, she's one of us. She's like the straightforward, like, "What are you doing?"
Book smart person. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she becomes like a goofy character, and then she got some backstory, obviously with Fallen. We come to know that Fallen has connections with everybody.
And I'm just like, for how important this character is, they kind of don't treat her that well. At least the anime doesn't treat her that well.
Yeah, she got
done dirty.
Yeah, really early.
Yeah, because
I didn't think this character was gonna be like a big thing, and then it turns out she's like important to everybody.
Super important. Like everyone cares about her.
I was like, okay.
Even though the anime doesn't care about it, all the characters care about her.
Yeah. Now going back to the main 4, I feel like Laios is my favorite character. He's just hilarious.
Laios, I am very mixed on because
he's hilarious, man.
Whenever he's like super intrigued about monsters and he's cooking, both figuratively and literally about monsters, I'm like, okay, this is what I like him the most. But the decisions that he makes that endangers his team, that's the thing that I hate the most.
Okay, I can see that.
Because it's
like in the first episode.
No, yeah, the first episode, but more
like Fallen, he was just thinking about.
Yeah, he was just thinking. I'm
everybody's
like,
hungry.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, like do something. Other than that, I think Laios is funny. I kind of wish that he didn't apologize to Shiro when he slapped him. I'm like, no, man, you're the right here. Just kick his ass. I'm like, he's like slapped him. Oh, I'm sorry. And he gets punched. I'm like, were you not expecting to get punched? And then he starts punching. I'm like, hey, that's the natural reaction. There we go.
I feel like there was times where I wish Laios had like a special power. People were hating on him, but he's not strong enough to back himself up.
Yeah.
I just wish sometimes he was able to like overcome those things. But obviously, he's not that type of main
He's not
character.
that type of character.
Which is fine too. It just took some time for me to like actually get used to it. And I actually prefer it this way, I guess, the way they're showing it, because then his strongest strength is just his admiration for monsters. He's like my favorite character in this anime.
Yeah, and then so the last character we haven't talked about is Chilchuck. I honestly think this is the weakest character out of the 4.
Okay, I can see that.
Just because, like, for him, what he adds to the team is just information about everything. I think that's what his deal was.
He's actually the smart character.
He's the smart character.
He's too realistic in a sense that he's actually the smart character. Yeah, he's like, no, we cannot survive this dungeon. We gotta leave.
We don't have stuff. We don't have items. We don't have all that stuff. So
people may see him as like a jerk, like, oh, you don't want to help, this person who's gonna die, which is following. But no, he's actually being real about it. And I feel like maybe he's not gonna be popular with the viewers.
And I think it's because of that, like that realistic thought process of his, is that he doesn't get enough shine because a lot of the things that they're doing are usually not endangering or already no longer realistic to that matter. So like he doesn't have a lot to add on other than the fact that like he's the guy who asks the questions that probably the viewers might want to know, so that they forcibly get answered. Now
they did introduce the 5th character near the end, and this character I don't want to mention her, but because I don't really like her. Her name is Itsuzumi or something like that. Itsuzuma,
the cat girl.
Yeah, I do not like her at all. She kind of just there to annoy the main cast.
And it's like, yes, they introduce her late, but they don't even give her that many episodes to like become a character. They just kind of plopped her in and she's just there. So it makes me wonder, why did they throw her in right now if she doesn't play any role right now?
I feel like maybe some people might like this character because she is shown to me, and these are the archetypes that I don't like. She is shown to be tsundere, and I do not like tsundere characters, especially if they're very like a brat like this one.
Bratty, yeah.
Yeah, the more bratty they are, the more I'm just like, oh my god. And all the other characters, they're all good in a way. I can't find no other bad characters that I'm just like, why are they there?
Yeah.
Besides Itsuzumi, like even Shuro's pretty cool. I understand his actions. The dwarf, the dwarf girl,
Narumi.
Her. Yeah, one guy I'm really interested about is he's like a dark human.
Yeah.
He's very interesting because I feel like he might be the actual main villain of the show.
No, he's the actual main character.
He's the main villain, I would say.
He wants to be the main character.
There's something. He's plotting something, obviously against Laios, because he doesn't think Laios is worthy successor of the dungeon.
But he does think that he's the one to conquer it, though.
Which is kind of weird.
Now let's get on to the animation. Now the animation is what actually got me into this anime in the first place. I think about like a year ago, I thought this anime looked pretty nice. Like the way that they do the faces was very round, I guess. Like what I'm used to seeing in anime are like more sharper, more detailed lines. But this time is like all the characters have round faces, not just the female characters. The male characters also have this really blobby face. I really can't explain it.
Yeah, the animations, it kind of reminded me of like 7 Deadly Sins. Not in the sense of like it's derpy. Like people say 7 Deadly Sins has bad animations. And this is what it reminded me of in the beginning. Now this one, I was like, okay, Dungeon Meshi, they're doing something different too. It's not very anime standards. Their hair is like very in a certain way, or facial features aren't the same. It's very different.
They can't cut through glass with their chins.
Yeah, Senshi just has two circles and it's just regular eyeballs, like cartoon eyeballs.
And other animes usually reserve that style of animation for when they're trying to be like funny or stupid at times. This one just said, no, we're doing this all the time. Even when we're in combat, we're still gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, so I would say the animation was great. I have no problem with it at all, even though it may seem like a cartoonish, but I feel like it worked out really well in the end for this anime.
Yeah, so something else that I wanted to point out was I didn't know what this anime was rated while going into it, because again, the first half of this anime, you do see animals getting like chopped off and all that stuff, so I thought, oh, this is probably like PG-13, I think. And then once you get to episode 12 and beyond, and where you see people getting crushed, their head decapitated, I just thought, okay, what rate is this? And I looked at it, a rated M. I'm like, holy crap, okay, this is, I wasn't expecting that.
In the first episode or two, they killed him on Dragora. They stabbed his face. I knew it was gonna be like a rated R.
The only reason why I didn't think that was rated R is because rated R is usually about humans. Like if you see a human getting lopped off, okay, that's like the tipping point. But PG-13 is like if you see monsters getting killed, you can kind of skirt that line. So I wasn't like too.
That's
picky
monster
about
cruelty,
it.
bro. Monster cruelty, bro.
Monsters don't have human rights.
Now let's get to the pacing. I had no issues with the pacing at all for this anime. Did you?
I did with the second half. At this point in the anime, I was getting really tired of seeing the cooking at this point. Like I think. It was,
really? I enjoyed the cooking.
I was just because like
at least they show different animals or different monsters being cooked. Like I like to cook.
The best part around that episode was Senshi's backstory. They were cooking with a purpose.
Oh, that was like episode like 22, 23.
Yeah, it was like 20 something.
Near the end.
Yeah, but like that was the first time where I thought they're not just cooking just to show off a body part like they're eating. This is cooking with a reason now, which is Senshi's background. I'm like, okay, this is how I wanted him to do it at this point long. It's like they're not just cooking just for the sake of, oh, this is delicious in the dungeon now.
Yeah.
Let's just show that. But no, they showed the ability to do a story, a really good story, and now they showed the ability to do cooking with an actual story now. So I'm like, okay, I want that to be more of a thing. But I felt like in some cases it's just like let's just cook because we have food now.
Yeah, it was randomly put in sometimes, and I still didn't mind at all. I still didn't mind. behind it because the theme of this show is monster food, delicious
food,
in
yes.
the dungeon. So it just brought back to the theme. But then I think that part got you was when it actually went back to story mode, which is after the Red Dragon.
Nope.
It just felt like it went to a different thing.
Yeah, because even after the Red Dragon, they stopped doing the cooking thing. They fought the Red Dragon, and like 3-ish episodes later, they hadn't done like a proper meal
cooking
thing
scene,
yet. Cooking scene. When they got back to it, I'm like, I was cynically saying, oh look, they went back to the cooking thing, haha, like I was in the beginning of the anime. And so I maintained that throughout the entirety at this point, just because I knew this is what they're gonna do now. So I was like, in an act of defiance, I just maintained that level of emotions, I guess. So now let's get to the music. And honestly, for me, the music was pretty forgettable because I don't even remember if there was music in this anime, aside from the opening ending.
I feel like it just fit the theme. Obviously, when it started, it was very comedy and very lighthearted, just a cooking show. The music, it just supported it. It wasn't really out there like that, in my opinion, maybe in your opinion too.
What I look for in music is I wanted to enhance whatever they're doing. So I honestly, I didn't even recognize that there was music up until I went and rewatched it, honestly, because for this review, I had to go back and see, did this anime have music and what is it? And what might be the reason as to why I might not have caught onto it? And just like you said, it really did fit the theme of it, but there wasn't like a outstanding moment of it that really, like the music was the shine part here.
It might just be me, but maybe music only really stands out in action animes, in hype scenes only, or a very sad moment. I mean, there might be a part when they're close to fighting the Red Dragon, or maybe when they're fighting the Red Dragon, there might be like an OST there somewhere that might be good. I feel like when I was watching the anime, I feel like there might have been one that really stood out, but I can't quite recall right now.
Yeah, and what also doesn't help is that the music was mixed a lot quieter than everything else.
Okay.
Like, so it was actually really hard to pick it out unless you were really listening to it. So that was also the other thing that I figured out, which was when characters were talking, naturally the characters' voices do come out more, but the music was a little bit muted. But even when there wasn't any characters talking, I still felt like the music was a lot muted. When at that point, it's like just bring the music up a lot. Like, there's nothing else going on. Like, there's no sound effects, no character talking. So like, just bring it up, just so like you have something to listen to at the very least. At least like when they're cooking, like that would have been the simplest thing. But for some reason, I don't remember any music when they were cooking.
Maybe it was just like cooking music, like elevator music.
I think I was just hearing like the sizzling and the boiling of the food. I think that was it.
Oh, you know what I do like? Boomer, boomer.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, is that considered music?
I guess I guess so. But
that lets you know that what the cooking dish is named.
I guess so.
I like that.
But I was looking for
that
more
little
like a
Trump.
tune.
What's that? That little war horn.
Yeah, the horn. Yeah, but I was just looking for more like a goofy music to play or something like that.
So the final verdict is Dungeon Meshi worth the hype? I would say so. In my opinion, it has great characters. Their storylines, I wouldn't say it's bad. I say it gets better as you go. It may have dropped the ball in the second half because it kind of lost its identity, I guess, with the cooking. But I still feel like it was great in the second half. Now the pacing, there's no pacing issues. Each episode, I felt like it had its own, I guess, theme. They introduced new monsters every time, and the lore and the information about the monsters, well, I feel like it was interesting. But yeah, this is a very unique anime, and I definitely think it's worth the hype. All right, now here is our tier list. So for every anime review that we do, we rank it in our fan of animes tier list. Now, these are the animes that we reviewed in the past. If you haven't seen the videos, check them out. Now, the more left they are, the better it is. Where do we put Dungeon Meshi?
I'm not gonna apologize for this, but I would put it in B tier right above JoJo's.
Ooh, I will put it A right here, right after Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm not gonna lie. I will put it right here.
I would only put.
He will put it right here.
Yes,
that's
right
what he
there.
said.
The only issue that I had with Dungeon Meshi was it did feel like it lost its identity halfway through the anime. It took some time to get it back, which it did, but the fact that I'm even saying that, it was enough for me to want to put it above JoJo's.
Oh man.
I feel like the other ones, they maintained what they were trying to do throughout the entirety of it. I might not have liked some things here and there, but at the very least, I can say it consistently stayed what it wanted to try to be.
Man, I feel like if we were to put it in B, it would be all the way up here. Because it did something that I feel like no other anime has done. It was more unique. Well, maybe Shangri-La is also unique in itself, but I feel like it was more unique than Demon Slayer. The comedy value that I got from Dungeon Meshi was better than what I got from Demon Slayer in terms of like the whole thing. So if you put it here and I put it here, that means we gotta average it out.
So
it's gotta be all the way
up there, yeah.
So oh man, I'd rather put it right here. I guess we'll put it right here, man. Right there. So this part like a B+, Dungeon Meshi, B+, worth the watch.
So season 2 to this anime has been announced, though they haven't confirmed when it was gonna come out, but definitely gonna look forward to watching that when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm really glad it's getting season 2. It showed great promise, and at the end there, they finally show a goal.
They show a goal.
Like, we're gonna do this. We have this to go.
I mean, wasn't that already the original goal from the very first episode? Save Falling, right?
Yeah, but I guess No, there's more now.
There's more now, but
Defeat the magician.
The original goal hasn't changed, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that's Fan of Anime's review of Dungeon Meshi. Now, let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. And check out our channel if you want to see the other reviews or anime quizzes. But do you have anything else you want to say?
One last word. Meshi. Oh, Dungeon Meshi.